Hafa Day. My name is Frankie Indelecio, and I'm going to share with you some quick tips on how to get yourself started with Google Meet. This video tutorial will be discussing 3 basic areas. 1. How to set up your Google Meet. 2. How to access your Google Meet. And 3. Some basic functions that you'll need to know as you utilize this platform with your students. So let's jump right in. One of the most common ways that teachers set up their Google Meet is by doing it through their Google Classroom. You can see here on your screen, this is a sample class that I have. And inside the banner on the top, you have here what's called a Meet link. And then it says to generate Meet link. Right now, there isn't one generated. And every time you create a new Google class, it always shows it like this, where it doesn't have one generated for you. You would need to simply click on this to have it generated. So I'm going to do that at this time. I'm going to click on this and it will generate a special code or a special Meet link for your students. A window will pop up and it'll say add Meet to your class. And so there's a button here that says generate Meet link. When you click on this, it'll take a few seconds and it will generate this special Meet link for your students to access and meet you using Google Meet. So I'm going to save this. And now the display will change and it no longer says to generate Meet link. It already has the special Meet link that's displayed right here for you. There's a camera here at the end of the Meet link that gives you an indication that your students in this class have access to this link. This means that they can click on this link at any time and they'll be on Google Meet. Just know that it is fairly easy for anyone to create a Google Meet and to get online. However, if you'd like to turn this off, you simply navigate to the cogwheel for the settings on the top right. If you click on this, you'll have some options. Just scroll down until you see the Google Meet logo right here. And then it says right below it, visible to students. And on the far right, you have a toggle switch. You can turn this off, like I've demonstrated, so that your students will not see the link. Once you turn the switch off, click on Save here on the top right. And now you can see it changed to an I that's crossed out, which means that your students will not be able to see this should they come into the classroom. This is the most common way that teachers generate a Meet link for their students. Now, if you'd like to jump right into that meeting just to kind of see what it looks like, all you have to do is click on this link. You know, if you want to test it out and see how it's going to look, you'll notice that right from the get-go, your camera will turn on, and then you'll have your natural display on, and then it does an automatic switch over to a virtual background. Depending on what kind of computer you have, this may or may not execute right away. So you can click on these 3 dots here in the top right corner of the screen, and you can change that virtual background. Or if you want to turn the camera off, which I wouldn't recommend as a teacher, if you click on this, you can turn the camera off. We'll go ahead and we'll leave it back on. And on the 3 dots, you'll have an option to change your background. And below the camera are many different options. I decided to use an office type of background here. I can change it and make it look like I have horses behind me. So this is really up to you. You can turn it off and let your background, wherever you're located at, be on display. You can have a mild version of a blur for your background. You could have a deep version of a blur of your background. There's many different options for you to choose from. And so once you do this, this is basically at a halfway mark getting into the meeting. And you'll see here on the side of the window, it has a code for this meeting. So this is another code that they could use, and it tells you no one else is here. So this is how I know I'm the only one in this meeting at this time. I can join now, or I can start doing a presentation. This is if I want to test out some of my slides and things like that I plan on sharing. So if I want to go into the meeting, I would click on join now, and I'll demonstrate that when we get to the basic functions. One other quick thing to mention is if you just go to the main page of meet.google.com, you can see here that you can enter any type of code or nickname, and it'll get you into any type of Google Meet quickly. So for example, you and the teachers in your grade level constantly jump online and would like to speak to each other about certain aspects of your lesson plan or some of the activities that you're going to be working on with your students. Maybe you can come up with a unique code that would be used for the entire school year. For example, maybe you would have your school mascot, and maybe if you're in the third grade team, you can put a number 3 at the end. So if you're like a busy bee, and you're in the third grade team, you can use a code of busy bee 3, and every time you and your team would like to meet online, you would communicate and just inform each other, okay, let's jump on a meet and we'll quickly discuss how we're going to lay out certain parts of page 2 of your lesson plan, for example. And everybody on the team would go to this website, meet.google.com, and quickly enter in any nickname. And even if you just make it up on the spot, it'll still accept it. And so if we put, like, for example, I was mentioning earlier, busy bee 3, and you click on join, it'll just open up the window for you real quickly here, and it's busy bee 3. And so everybody that's using this, everybody in the team will enter busy bee 3, and instead of it saying no one else is here, it'll show other people that have joined the meeting. And this is a quick way for you to kind of get online without having to do any special setup or picking any particular date or anything like that. It's just a fast way of getting in. So let's go take a look at some of the basic functions. I'm just going to click on join now, and you'll see this is your meeting details. You have the blue button here where you can add others. And now what happens is, as a teacher, which says you, which is the teacher, you'll end up on this tile down here. And then all your students will end up right here in the middle. And because there's only one guest in here, that's why there's only one picture. But as the teacher, you have options here. Right now, this option has me at the bottom right corner. And again, my camera's off. So if I turn my camera on, then there you can see the teacher, right? You'll be able to see yourself. And so you have options here. If you click on this pin here, you can pin yourself, and what it is you'll be on a main screen, which looks like this. You'll be on a main screen here with your students off to the side. If you don't go with the pin, let me turn that pin off, and I'm back down on the bottom. And this is where you want to take time to play around with these buttons. You have another one here in the middle. It's called show in a tile. So if I click this, it basically puts me side by side with everyone else. And if there were 16 people in here, then I believe it'll spread out evenly on a 4x4 grid. Let me turn that off. And this double arrow here basically puts it to the side. It kind of closes it up. So throughout the meeting, if you don't care to be viewing yourself throughout the session, you can certainly have that option of putting it off to the side. And if you need to restore it, just click on the double arrow and you'll bring that back to where it was at from the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera back off. And I'm going to have my personal email leave this meeting. So now it's just back to the teacher. And so here are some main functions that you'll be using on the bottom center area. The first one here is to turn off the microphone. So you would click that if you want to mute yourself. As you've seen me do earlier, I had turned off my camera, so this is your on and off switch. The CC button stands for closed caption. So if you click on this and you speak, your voice should be able to transcribe it into words, as you can see here how it's demonstrated. This is really good in case some of your students may have difficulties understanding you, or maybe they're having difficulty hearing your voice. This is also a great way for students to practice their reading skills. So the CC option is available for you. I will turn that off. And then you have the raise hand option here. And you have a present now. The present now button is used if you're going to be sharing something else on your computer. And so let's say, for example, let me close this. Let's say, for example, I have this image here, right? And I want to share this image to my class. Now that image is still there. It's just behind my Google Chrome window. And so when I click on present now, if I share my entire screen, it basically will show everyone my entire screen. So it's kind of self-explanatory. However, if I go to a window, I have my own screen, which is one of the windows, and then I have that image as another one. So if I click on the image and I click on share, it will then pull up the image and share the image to your audience. And so that's how you would share something else on your computer. I'm going to stop sharing this. And then if you wanted to share a tab, maybe this is a YouTube tab that you have. Let me go ahead and pull up a YouTube clip. And let's see. So if I wanted to share a YouTube clip, I can click on a tab. And here is the YouTube clip that I want to share. So I would just click that one time and click on share. And now I have my screen here showing the YouTube page that I wanted to show to the class. So I'm just going to go back to the meeting and I'm going to stop sharing. So I can click stop right up here. And those are basically the three options that you have for the present button. And then these three dots that you see here, some call them a snowman. These are all some technical settings. If you open them, you can see different options here. There's the record meeting. You can use a whiteboard. You can change the layout or the background again. Feel free to browse this area here for some technical settings that you may want to consider adjusting. And then you have your red phone here, red shape in a white phone. You can either leave the call or you could end the call. If you leave the call, the meeting will still be active, but you're just leaving. Whereas if you end the call, you're closing out the entire meeting. And then you have some of the basic stuff over here. Again, more basic stuff. The information about the details of this meeting, the people that are in the meeting with some functions. You have your chat button here. These are the activities such as that whiteboard that I was sharing with you earlier and the record button. And these are some host controls that you may also want to consider adjusting. And so this concludes a really brief overview of the basic functions of using Google Meet. I hope you found this video to be useful for you, and I hope that it does serve to help you get started with meeting your students online. Thank you.